So what was it that interested you in hearing and speech? Did you start with hearing and speech and
Mhm.
go into a sort of a neuroscience side of it, or did you start with neuroscience and go into hearing and speech?
That's a really kind of bizarre story. I wanted to be an astronaut, and clearly that was not meant to be. So I started out with engineering and tried to do aerospace engineering, and that was not my natural talent, to say the least. And so I ended up going to psychology. My mom and my sister had both done that with great success, and so I thought that that was probably where I had a better fit. And I went through the psychology program rather quickly and was not sure where to go from there. I didn't want to counsel people for my career. That wasn't my inclination. But I missed the math side. I missed the engineering side of things, learning how things work, troubleshooting. I really have always enjoyed troubleshooting things. And so my mom actually had a client who was an audiologist, and she said, "Have you ever heard of this career path?" And I said, "No, what does that mean?" And so I ended up on a leap of faith taking a bunch of leveling courses in audiology my senior year of college and really enjoyed it. It was a good mix of the psychology of hearing, the perception of sound, but also, the hearing science of it, which is very technical. And so I was accepted to the audiology program at University of Colorado. And into my second year of the 4-year program, I started to wonder maybe this wasn't for me. I wasn't sure if I could see myself doing hearing testing as my main focus or working with hearing aids. And at that time, our department was interviewing candidates for a faculty position, and Dr. Anu Sharma interviewed. And it was the first time I had really heard a researcher give a presentation that I fully understood, and I enjoyed it, and I felt very excited, and I hadn't felt that way in a while about, my career path. And so I met with her and asked if I could work in her lab and help her set it up when she accepted the position. And she was just really wonderful and encouraging and had me working on a paper. And I did not want to get my PhD. I was adamant. I do not want to do this. I don't want to write a dissertation. I don't want to be in school for another 10 years. But I really enjoyed working on this research paper, which ended up being my first publication. And she had a student that ended up being also a faculty member at University of Colorado, Philip Gilly. And he was my mentor. And he also said, "Well, have you thought about, doing a PhD or whatnot?" And I said, "I just don't know if I can do it." Anyway, long story short, they started to convince me. And so I applied to do the AUD audiology slash PhD program. And, working in the lab, doing EEG, working with children and cortical development, I really felt like I needed to take extra coursework to understand the fundamentals of what I was doing. And so that's what got me into the track of neuroscience, and taking those courses was kind of this desire to really have a better fundamental understanding of what is EEG, what is it measuring, what is it good for, what is it not appropriate for. And that's kind of how it happened.
Just sort of fell into it at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, it was definitely a God thing for me.
Yeah, nice. I'm glad that you brought up EEG because we'll talk about that in a little bit. I think that's a really interesting technology and tool and way to understand what's going on in the brain.